Hey YouTube, it's Grace, and in this week's video I'm going to be doing a painting that is not pixel art for the first time in a very long time. I am a little bit of a space enthusiast and I've been wanting to do a space painting for a long time because I did a commission last year and I've just been thinking about it ever since. So anyway, I was like researching what I wanted to paint and ultimately decided to use a photo of the Helix Nebula as my reference. Obviously it didn't turn out exactly like the reference. I kind of put my own spin, my own style on it, but I think it turned out really cool. I had fun doing it. And I also have prints, which I will show you at the end of this video. But if you're interested in them, I will have my Etsy linked in the description. But anyway, let's get into it. This is the Helix Nebula and the photo that I'm going to be using as a rough reference. Obviously, I'm not going to get every single detail, but we're gonna try. Last night, I kind of sketched out a very, very rough idea of the colors I'm going to need for this painting. So I went ahead and brought some colored pencils down to my art room, and I'm just going to do a very rough sketch of where everything is going to go. So starting off, I think I want to mark out where the center of the canvas is because that is where the star is. This canvas is 16 inches across, meaning that the center point is at 8 inches. I'm pretty sure it's 20 inches. Yeah, so the center point would be 10. So right about here. Now the first kind of outer layer that we see around the star is purple, which isn't super big. And it looks like more of the purple is like on this side. And then we have some really pretty blues, which it looks like there's kind of a dip here, and it kind of goes around, and then it gets higher here. Looking good. And around the blue, there's a little ring of yellow. I'm not sure how well you can even see this on camera, but I have some very light rings of different colors that just kind of tell me where the colors are supposed to go. I just got out a bunch of colors that I think I'm going to need for this first step, and I think I'm going to approach this the same way that I would approach a pixel art painting, just by doing like a rough first coat, if that makes sense. Just kind of mapping everything out, not worrying too much about the details or the exact colors, and just getting started, really. Just for simplicity, I'm going to start from the inside and work my way out. So I mixed this kind of purplish blue color with these three paints. Okay, there's no turning back now. I have genuinely been wanting to do another space painting for months now, but for some reason my brain just wouldn't let me until I got to like a better breaking point in the Minecraft painting series. Now on the outside of these different purpley bluish teal rings, there's like a cream colored ring almost. It's kind of subtle, but I'm gonna mix that up and get it marked out. It kind of marks the difference between the blues and this like goldish yellow ring that we're about to do. My brush strokes are being pretty light here. Even though this is only the first coat, I do want everything to be decently blended. I don't want super harsh lines just because that makes it more difficult later. Now, I imagine that it would be like a million times easier to blend all of these colors if I used oils instead of acrylic, but I have actually never used oils in my entire life, so I am not starting today. Plus, I enjoy a good challenge. This is like a major trust the process moment. I just realized if no one has ever seen my videos before, they would probably think this is going to look terrible. You know, I just low-key realized I've been like terribly ignoring the marks that I just nicely drew out for myself, so I'm gonna try to fix that a little bit. I think I'm gonna start filling in more of the reds. I feel like another major reason that this painting needs to happen in layers is because there's just so much going on and I like won't have enough time to touch everything up before the paint dries, which I guess is another downfall of using acrylics here. But you know, I just looked closer at the reference and realized that there's actually some like reddish purple areas in here, kind of on both sides and a little bit up here. There's not too much orange actually showing through there. I also noticed that the red kind of feathers out, but it looks more like cloud fog-ish. Should probably be doing this way instead. This is your occasional reminder to trust the process. Actually, I feel like I'm just trying to convince myself to trust the process at this point. I think it's time to start blending it in with the black in the background. So I'm gonna take some reds, mix them with some blacks, and go from there. For the very edges, I'm just going to be using a black. I've heard it's not the best to use straight black, and sometimes I do avoid it. In this case though, I think it's okay, because I'm going to be adding lots of details over this before we're too far in. I'm also a firm believer in painting the edges of your canvas, so I will definitely be doing that. Now, before we go any further, can you see the vision at this point? Sort of. Before this black completely dries, I'm gonna take some more of the dark red maroon color and just feather it out as much as I can to save myself the hassle of blending this later. Now, acrylic does dry pretty fast, so obviously I can't save myself all of the work, but I can make this a little bit easier for my future self. What about now? Do we see the vision now? I think I'm gonna leave it here for now because I just feel like I need like a fresh set of eyes once this is dry. But yeah, this is like my rough outline. So this has been drying for like 2 days. I accidentally got busy doing other things, but I'm back and I'm gonna start adding another coat of paint, trying to match these colors pretty closely, just blending them out a lot. Okay, I'm sorry for my lack of filming, but I'm working with a very short frame of time of blending this before it completely dries. But basically I have 3 paintbrushes, one with the purplish blue color, one with the bluish teal color, and one with this cream color, and I am just feathering them out very, very, very lightly over and over and over again and getting this effect. Here's how it's looking after the second coat. Obviously we still have a long ways to go before it's done, but I think it's looking a lot more blended and I'm happy with the progress so far. I am back for day 3 of this painting, and you probably guessed it, but I'm going to do a bunch more blending today. I ended up putting all the paints on this plate and then just putting that in the freezer, because little art hack, if you don't have a way to preserve your paint, you can just freeze it and then unfreeze it when you're ready to use it again. So I've been doing some work off camera for a bit, just trying to figure out the best way to do this because I was kind of struggling with my original method. The paint was still drying too fast. I tried using like a little bit of water with the paint. That helped like a little bit, but not enough. So I've kind of switched my approach. I'm using smaller brushes, and like, for example, I'm blending out the very outside. If I'm using like brush strokes like this versus this, so I'm using like the thin side of the brush to like flick the darker colors in versus flicking the lighter colors out. I've also figured out it works better if I do like the beige and then put the yellows over it for the areas that need like yellows and orange, because the yellows are just too thin to show up by themselves. So we're making progress, it's just kind of difficult. I didn't realize that this would be this complex. Now, even though I'm not done blending yet, I'm going to start adding a few stars because I want them to look layered when I'm done with this. And I can't really get that effect unless I make some stars now and then paint over them so that it's like translucent, if that makes sense. All right, it's been drying for a few days. I've been working on some other projects, but I'm back and going to do some more blending. I think what I'm going to do with some of the colors that are less opaque, like my yellows and oranges, is go over them with this cream color instead, and then put the yellow or orange on top of it. That way it actually shows up. Since in my last painting session I blended the blacks inward, I've decided to also blend the dark red burgundy colors outward just to kind of feather this out as much as possible. I think the further I get into this painting, the more I realize that like it's not going to be the exact realism style that I was like originally hoping for, because that's just not really possible with acrylic paint, at least at my skill level. I am starting to add another layer of stars just by doing some kind of random clusters, also referencing the image for like the big ones. I feel like it's finally starting to come together. I love adding the little details on space paintings. Another little detail that I'm working on is if I have some lighter stars and I want it to appear like they're glowing, I'll just take a little bit of my color, which in this case is a super light gray, and just dab it around the star give it kind of like a fuzzy glowing effect. You only need the smallest amount of paint. If it's too much, I'm afraid it'll like ruin it. Because far away, like even at the spacing of my camera, it looks like it's glowing compared to the one next to it. Okay, we're on to another day now, and I'm really hoping to finish this painting soon because I have a full weekend and I don't want to fall behind on YouTube content. But anyway, I decided to try and add some like twinkling effects to some of the stars, and I really like how it looks. I just think it makes some of them pop. Now that I have all of the general shapes down, I'm trying to refine everything and add all the little details, which is kind of taking a lot of time and brain power, but we're getting there. You can see there's more of like a cream at the bottom right, so I'm like adding that in here. I'm also trying to change the shape, like some of it kind of goes in and then here it goes out. And now I'm putting another layer of white paint on top of some of the stars just to make them look brighter, because I want some variation in how bright all of them are. And then also kind of adding more on top of the ones that I like made it look like they were glowing, especially here. I just feel like it makes it pop more. You know what? I think I might actually be done, but I'm gonna like give it a day, hang it up on my wall, stare at it some more, and then when it's totally dry, I will come back with the final update. And here we are with the grand reveal. Here it is! I ended up using so many different colors for this painting and I absolutely love how it turned out. The trial and error for the blending was a little bit tricky, but I think I figured it out towards the end. I also think this painting was quite fitting for Pride Month because even though you're probably seeing this video in late July, I actually made it in June. And I didn't even think about that until it was done. And I was like, wait a minute, this is like a rainbow painting. But anyway, I need to show you guys the prints I got because I think they look cool. These are the prints. They are a little bit smaller than the canvas, but you still get almost all of the original details in there. I had such a hard time getting these done because the place I normally went to was closed for like a week. So if you're interested in supporting me in any way, shape, or form, buying a print from my Etsy shop is a great way to do that, which again, I will have linked in the description. But I think that just about concludes this video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you're interested in seeing any of my other art, I have tons of it on my Instagram here. But otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Bye.